Hello, Facebook friends, family, and YouTube people. Michelle here with Sacred Earth. So today I'm here to talk to you about a planetary alignment that is going to have a profound effect on us personally and collectively in the year 2019 and going into 2020 and beyond. So this is the planetary alignment of the planets Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. Really quickly, let's just talk about what the South Node is. The South Node is, we're looking at the moon here, so we're looking at planetary points, the North Node and the South Nodes of the moon. These are imaginary points. However, they're very powerful points, and it's really important to look at these when we're looking at how we're evolving in this world. So this is all happening in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn has to do with the established order. It has to do with structures on the planet, the systems of our planet. So we're looking at, the world of limitation and physicality. We're looking at, police force. We're looking at governments. We're looking at monetary systems, the brick and mortar buildings. There's going to be a tremendous amount of restructuring and change to these things as we've known them. So these planets move slow. The Pluto is a slow-moving planet, and Saturn is a slow-moving planet. So these changes have already been happening. They've been happening very slowly over time, but they're coming to a culmination, to a peak, going into 2019 and into 2020. So starting here in April, we have, on April 2nd, Pluto starting to conjoin the South Node of the Moon. We have Saturn conjoining Pluto in April, May of 2019, and again in January of 2020. And then we have Saturn conjoining the South Node. So this is all a very heavy and karmic sort of energy, and but it's quite necessary. And these things have been going on throughout our history. These can be challenging times, and it's a mixed bag because we have Jupiter in Sagittarius, which brings blessings, and it brings this need to want to grow and expand. So there's a lot of other things happening too that I believe will help soften this up. But it's, there's just some harsh realities that we do need to face in this world. So let's look at the planets themselves. So we have Pluto, the subconscious force. It's the subconscious, it's the things we hide. It's things that are hidden. It has to do with purification. So Pluto is also known as the destroyer. So when something isn't working in the best interest of your evolution, Pluto comes in and it takes that thing out. Then we have Saturn, and Saturn is the planet. It's a cold planet as well as Pluto, and it's the world of limitation, and it's our hard work. It's all our efforts. It's the brick and mortar buildings. It's governments. It's money systems. It's school systems. It's the boundaries and the rules and all the structures of this world. Well, as we evolve, some of the things that we have built or these structures are no longer serving our evolution. So we have to, things have to change before we can progress and bring in new things. And so you have Uranus also making a square to this whole planetary alignment, this whole conjunction. And Uranus is this very high vibrational energy, and it can bring sudden changes, sudden shocks and surprises. So it's actually, as we speak, getting ready to leave Aries, which will not return to that point in time for another 84 years. And it's looked at as being the liberator. So it's liberating us from something. So you can see here that collectively we are going through a process of purification in our, which is necessary for our evolution. So some of the structures and the established order of things, they do need to change. So we're going to see probably some, you know, civil unrest. We're going to see, you know, revolutionary energies, you know, people resisting, you know, what's being imposed on us. So that's coming up. And there's, so what's the takeaway from, I'm going to show you the energies really quick and then we'll get to the takeaway. But so what I'm talking about, and this is the current chart right here. So you see that right here, that those 3 points are going to be coming together, the 2 planets and that south node. They're going to be coming together in January of 2020 at their peak. And doesn't mean that when that energy passes, we won't feel it. We will feel it for a while. So there's just some things that we're going to have to learn to let go of, and we're going to have to be simple in the way we think about things, and learn to live with less, and let go of things. And that's not to be, you know, like gloom and doom, because I think there's a tremendous amount of abundance here and positive energy. So, but it's through this energy that we're going to be able to acquire that abundance. So, anyway, so what is the takeaway here? Well, I think the takeaway is that we are going to have to learn to let go and surrender some things. And if you have based your security on the outer things, the things that are of the world, you know, to bring you security, and I'm talking about, you know, some of these structures, you cannot base everything on that. If you've done that, it's going to be hard to move through these changes. It's going to, you know, there's going to be some resistance there. So then we have the North Node in Cancer. So you see the North Node there in the sign of Cancer? And so there's a lesson there with the North Node in Cancer happening simultaneously with these other planetary conjunctions. It's saying that we need to find our inner security and our nourishment from the things that are not of the world of matter and physicality, but those things that are internal. So one of the lessons, the main lesson I believe of the North Node in Cancer is finding that inner security. You know, and that may seem very intangible and very kind of like, okay, well, what does that mean? But at the end of the day, I believe it has to do with connecting to your own soul, connecting to what gives you nourishment. Because if you're only expecting that nourishment to come from the outside world, you're going to feel a sense of lack. You're going to feel like, you know, there's no fulfillment. There's no satisfaction. You know, the Cancer is the sign of the mother. It's this nourishing, nurturing energy. It's feminine. It's watery. And on this planet, we have been in this very long period of patriarchal rule. And that is Saturn. That is Capricorn. So there's been an imbalance. So we have the masculine and we have the feminine, okay? And the masculine, the imbalance is this patriarchal rule. And the feminine is coming in now at this new age of time, and it's flooding the planet to bring those two polarities back into balance, okay? We need both. We cannot have one does not dominate the other. They have to come together in harmony, and they have to be, you know, working together. So more of that feminine energy is what we need to be looking at and bringing that in, you know, because otherwise we're not evolving spiritually. We're stuck. We're stuck in a patriarchal rule, and you know, we need both aspects of God, yin and yang. Okay, so anyway, so that's the main thing I wanted to tell you about as far as the astrology goes. And let me just look one last time at the chart and see if there's anything that I wanted to touch on. It might come up later, but I think that's it. So I'll keep the chart handy unless if I think of another aspect that's affecting these energies. So today I'm going to do an oracle card reading. you know, that's what I do. So, and so what I'm going to be looking at today with this oracle card reading, and have a little tarot here too, is what do we need to keep in mind, or what should our focus be in order to navigate these challenging energies? And I don't want you to get the impression that that this is like a gloom and doom, or like this sort of, you know, apocalyptic scenario, because, you know, first of all, we have been dealing with these energies for a lot of time. And don't get me wrong, it is challenging. In fact, these energies occurred in the past when both world wars were happening. So you can see that there's, you know, just a lot of restructuring and change. And that's what this is about. This is about restructuring and change. And so the more we sort of surrender to it and just sort of flow with it, the better off that we're going to be. And the more we let go of the external attachments to how things should be, and just kind of go within and really tap into that wellspring, that source of what security is. You know, if you can have everything stripped away from you and still feel this inner sense of knowing that everything is going to be fine, and that you are completely cared for, and that, you know, I was just thinking, I just had this thought come to me about, you know, the Israelites coming out of the promised land, you know, where they knew things were going to be tough for a while. They knew that journey was going to be hard. Not to get too biblical here, but they, you know, they were up for the task of taking on that journey. Yeah, so that's just something that came to me. Anyway. Okay, so today I'm going to shuffle some of these crystal reading cards, okay? So let's just to get an overall theme and idea of the energies that I'm talking about here. Let me shuffle that up. So what are the overlying overall theme or energies for this planetary alignment? What is something that what crystal can we learn from, a teaching from here? Okay, let's see what comes up. Oh, aquamarine, communication. Okay, so, you know, when I do these readings, I never really know, I do a little preparation thinking, oh, I might want to talk about this or that, but I never really know exactly what's going to come up. So it's always a bit of a surprise, so it's kind of fun that way. But aquamarine is a stone of communication, and you can see it has that blue color, so it resonates with the throat chakra. Okay, so communication is a theme we're going to need to keep in mind with aquamarine. And aquamarine just has this very soothing quality to it. You know, it has this, it's like, think of like the ocean. It just has this very peaceful, soothing quality to it. So that's something we're going to need to keep in mind for this reading today. So I'm just going to set that right there. Okay, so the next deck that I'm going to look at is the Keepers of the Light deck. And I was thinking, the Keepers of the Light deck, I was thinking earlier about, you know, I was thinking about, if you want to talk about God, okay, if you want to use the label of God, universe, source, whatever you want to talk about. But, you know, when I think of God, I don't think of him as a man on a cloud. I think of God as a force, okay? God is so much bigger than a man. He is a force. And this force is everything. It's light, dark, neutral, everything in between, okay? And she is so much greater than what we have, you know, what we have made him out to be. So when I think about like different beings of light, different figures who the different religions of the world look up to, whether it's Jesus or, you know, Buddha, or, you know, all these gods and goddesses like in the Vedic tradition. I even have, you know, Lakshmi and Green Tara here. What is all this about? You know, the way I see it is that these are all everything is a fractal of the one, of the source. So these beings of light, they're fractals. So just like a little facet or an aspect of God, and each one carries an energy. So when one of these comes up as a teacher, they carry a specific energy that is giving us a teaching, and it all comes from the one source. And you too are a fractal of the one. So there is no separation between us. So whatever I do to you happens to me. We are all part of the same whole. So when you make choices and decisions that affect, others, it does affect you. So just one way to look at this whole concept of God. And so I thought of that because I was, shuffling this Keepers of the Light deck, and this is all about like the different beings, or different facets of God, different energies. Okay. So let's see what comes up. Oh, Lady Portia, divine order. Okay. So let me put this down here. All right. So Lady Portia, divine order. Let's read what it says. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. So you see Lady Portia there, right? Lady Portia. Okay, so far what we've gotten here is we've gotten this card of Aquamarine Communication. We've gotten this Lady Portia card, and so what I'm getting for that is that even though it seems like, these structures on our planet, they might be breaking down. Hey, we even had the government shutdown, a while back. So I don't keep up too much with politics because I really do try to stay out of that whole frequency. And I don't watch TV. So I really try to stay clear of that. But I feel like it pulls us into this divisiveness, and that the space I want to be in is in a place of neutrality. So, but even though these changes are happening on the planet, everything is part of the process. It's part of the process of purification, and everything is in divine order. So there's no need to worry. There's no need to fear. There is a need to be realistic, and there is a need to proceed cautiously and to live simply, and to not not take things for granted. Because once we're through this time of change, then everything's going to be fine. On the horizon, if you look out at the horizon, things are just going to get better from there on out. It really, at the end of the day, it is our choice how we choose to respond to events. And, we all go through cycles in our life where we need to expand and contract. And, you are very much being looked after. This is divinely ordered. This isn't something that, yes, there are negative forces on this planet and things that try to push us back. But even the thing about that is their plan always backfires, because during the toughest and darkest times of our lives, we are able to use that energy and transmute it and use it as fuel to push us, to enlighten us, to bring us up to a higher state of being, to unleash those lower negative frequencies. So it's all divinely ordered. Okay, so that's Lady Portia. All right, so now let's see what I'm going to go to next. Okay, so I have the traditional the Rider-Waite tarot deck, which I have not used in any of my readings. Now, the tarot deck, again, shows subconscious thought patterns, and there's a few cards in the tarot deck that can be a little scary, right? We have the Devil card and the Tower, and, I think that's what scares people away from the tarot, but the Death card. But these are all parts of life. So, it just is what it is. And, honestly, I don't think that death is the worst thing. I know that sounds really weird for me to say that, but it's not. It's, it's all part of the process and the way that we have been trained or thought to look at death. It's not my intention to go off on tangents because, sometimes I tend to get on a mind trail. But anyway, all right, let's see what comes up here. Let's see. Okay, so what does the Rider-Waite Tarot deck have to tell us about this period of time, or this planetary alignment that we are speaking of today? Oh, okay, so we have the Eight of Cups. Okay, see the Eight of Cups there? All right, so the Eight of Cups, cups is emotional energy, it's water. And you see a guy walking away, okay? And there's water in the scene, and you see the sun and the moon coming together in a planetary alignment there, okay? And this is about walking away from something, okay? There's something that, some emotional attachments, something that you have been attached to in the past that now you're just going to be moving away from that. It's no longer needed. It's no longer, necessary on this journey. So it's just preparing the way for change. So whenever something new comes in, there's always a letting go that has to happen. So this is about letting go of something on an emotional level. Okay, so what are you prepared to let go of? Okay, all right, so letting go. Okay, that theme has come up in every reading I have done since I started doing these readings, so it's pretty interesting. We definitely are in a time of letting go. Okay, so, oh, what is that right there? Hold on. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know why I feel super compelled. Hold on. I feel super compelled to look at this card here that was on the top of the deck, the Keepers of the Light deck, and I'm going to go ahead and choose it. It's just calling to me. So this is Serapis Bay, okay, and it says Ascension, okay. Move into your true self. Let's get those glasses on. Move into your true self. Rise above the darkness. The light is here. How perfect is that card for what we're talking about today? Because, Pluto is a dark planet, and it can make us feel, when it comes knocking on our door, it can send us into some deep, deep places, into deep depression. And so, but it's so necessary because, we all have to go through that process of purification, that process of death and rebirth. And, you can sweep things under the rug for just so long, but after a while, you need to stop and take a look at, what's under the rug there, because whatever it is, it's doesn't smell good. It's got to go. It's got to go. So this is about releasing that darkness, which is going to bring you into that true divine self. I've talked a lot about shadow in the other videos, and, Carl Jung, one of our, great psychological teachers in the world of psychology, he was big into astrology, but he was big into, working with the shadow and doing shadow work. And what he has taught us is that when you acknowledge your shadow, you actually find your lost gifts. Because when you swept that shadow under the rug, that part that you just didn't want to look at, or you didn't want anyone to know about or see, including yourself, because we're blind to our own shadow, along with that went a gift. It went one of the greatest, blessings that you have to offer the world. So when we start reintegrating that shadow, we start uncovering those new gifts, those new blessings. And this is the true light that exists within you. This is the true divine light. So Serapis Bey, this is about ascension. What is ascension? Ascension is just, evolving to a lighter state of being. It's individual, but it is also planetary. So as we are going through an ascension process right now. 2012, things got really ramped up. That was the end of the old paradigm, and now we're moving into this new paradigm. It's a new beginning, and it's a planetary ascension. So the Earth herself, the Earth is a sentience. She is evolving herself, and she is moving. She is ascending, and so it works both ways. When we evolve our consciousness and we expand it, she advances hers, and when when her consciousness elevates, so does ours. This has a lot to do with the Schumann resonance, which is the pulse or the heartbeat of the planet. And over the past several years, especially in the past couple years, that Schumann resonance has just shot up. I mean, it's been at the highest level that it has ever been in. A lot of the wars on our planet have been in order to keep this planet in a lower state of frequency. So to keep us sort of locked in. And why would that be? Why does anybody want to keep us locked in? Well, now we're getting deep into some other esoteric teachings, but if you believe in the cycle of death and rebirth, okay, in karma, that we are that this planetary existence is a cycle of death and rebirth, then you would see that that there might be beings that are not of the highest vibration that are interested in keeping us here, keeping us stuck here. What is the kingdom of heaven? It is ascending out of this existence. But our ascension is a physical process too. It's creating heaven on earth and evolving ourselves spiritually in the physical form. That physical form is very much a part of this. So I'm going to stop right there on this one. But so ascension, that's what this is about. This is about unleashing the darkness and rising up to a higher state of being. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to move on to another deck. This is the animal deck. So animal oracle cards. Let's see what the animals have to say here about these planetary alignments. Okay. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. How appropriate. Okay, so this is Mountain Goat. Fighting for love or ardent declarations may hide unfaithfulness. Well, the goat is Saturn. Okay, so Capricorn, actually. So the sign of Capricorn is ruled by the goat. Okay, so the specific message on here is fighting for love or ardent declarations may hide unfaithfulness. How does that apply to us? Well, I feel like it's telling us that we need to take a stand. We need to fight for love, okay? Love in a universal sense. Love that, the system of domination and control that we live in, the structures of this world, this earth plane, this earth existence, which is just this, which is pretty much probably one of the darkest places in the universe. We have to fight for love. We have to stand up, and we have to stand up for something. And, I believe that's what it's teaching us, and yeah, Saturn, it's no coincidence Saturn sounds like Satan, but Saturn is a planet that we can learn so much from, because through our limitations we are able to find the determination. It's a very determined, Capricorn is a very determined sign, which is ruled by Saturn. With this planet we can find our determination, we can chart the steady course that needs to happen, taking the little small steps, one step at a time, one step at a time. You know, because we are bound by the world of matter and limitation, okay? There's growth that can happen with this. So it's not necessarily a negative thing to work with Saturn. It's like the mountain goat, just steadily, just taking, you know, step after step after step. So I believe that the planet Saturn teaches us to go deeper into the human experience. Most people run away from the lessons of Saturn, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. When you start studying astrology, you might even like, oh, Saturn, you know, you start going, what is this planet about, you know? But I think the true lesson, and this has to do with life purpose too, is to go deeper into the lessons of Saturn, okay? Yeah, go deeper into it. So whatever sign that's in for you, that's an area of life that you are being called to go deeper into the experience, because the way out is through the lower self, the lower aspects of self, or the lower, through the density. That's the way out. That's my belief. So there's a lot to learn there. There's a lot of teachings, okay? And fight for the love. Fight for the love on this planet, because the world will have you believe that love doesn't exist, you know, that this is a bleak and dark place, and it is so not that. It's only the illusion in this physicality that we experience that, okay? All right. You know, my goal was to not make this video too long, but it's really difficult to talk about these concepts and not, you know, get into the details of it. So it seems like my videos keep getting longer and longer, and that's not my intention. My intention is to actually make them shorter. Okay, so the next deck that I'm going to choose from is this Ascension deck, and some of the concepts in here might be a little bit over the head. We'll see what comes up. It might not resonate with everyone, so, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull a card from here. See what comes up. This is the Ascension deck. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sirius. Okay, so Sirius is a planet in our solar system, and I think I talked about it in the last video. This Sirius star, sun, and how the sun in our solar system and this sun sort of come together and weave in and out to create this whole cycle, this Kali Yuga cycle, and the other cycles after that. And okay, so I'm going to read the card because there's quite a bit on here. So, the star system of Sirius holds 12 of the universal keys to enlightenment and ascension. When you access and comprehend them, you become master of the universe. This card invites you to visit the training schools and universities of Sirius in your sleep in order to develop your higher mind, access the spiritual laws of alchemy and magic, understand sacred geometry, and tune into angel sonics and higher dimensions. This is an opportunity to learn through the inner planes about spiritual technology and bring it forward into the new golden age. Okay, and then there's an affirmation: I'm open to the higher wisdom of Sirius. So, you know, before I started this reading today, this kind of reminds me of the thoughts I was having before this reading, and it was about our sun, our solar, the sun in our, of the solar system we live in. And I was thinking about how the sun is the guardian of this planet, well, in Gnostic teachings, they believe that the planet that we live on broke off from the source and was catapulted into this place in the galaxy that was where she descended, I guess, descended in her vibration. And the sun was put there to be the guardian, to watch over her. And now she's making her ascension. She's making her way back to source, just as we are. And so Sirius is another star in our solar system, well, not in our solar system, but in our galaxy. And so there is a connection between these two suns, these two stars, our solar sun and the Sirius sun. And so this is very much has to do with a cycle of ascension, of moving towards the higher vibrations and planes. So yeah, so when you have those two aspects coming together, okay, moving out and then they sort of come together, this is about union, okay? So this is about the light and the dark coming together, the masculine and the feminine coming together and coming back into balance. So, yes. So, anyway. All right. I think we're good there. I'm going to stop right there. So let me go back and just do a general overview of these energies. Okay. So let me get a little closer here. Aquamarine. I didn't make a connection between the communication and the aquamarine, but I'm getting it now. So what this means is during this time, we are being encouraged to speak our truth, okay? This is not a time to go into hiding. This is a time to start stepping out and, you know, I'm not saying start a revolt or revolution, but because that just sends into polarity. It can serve a huge, it can be an impetus for change when we speak and when we have, you know, revolution that is aligned with inner truth, inner, it's coming from a really divine place. Where we get into trouble is when we start joining in movements simply because the world is imposing this on us. You have to know that we get forced into polarity. We get pushed into it, and it's so easy to jump into a fight, to jump into, you know, you see something on Facebook or whatever, and you start, you know, making comments because you're just something outrages you. Though that is imposed on you. So make sure that, you know, it's coming from a divine place. So yes, speak your truth. That is divinely ordered. That comes from a divine place. Just making these videos for me is doing this, is about speaking. That there's more going on here than meets the eye. And this is not a time to be quiet. This is a time to speak. And this is time to step out in your truth. Okay, so that's that. And then we had Lady Portia, divine order. Everything is being divinely ordered. You know, any suffering that is, you know, endured from the changes, don't worry. It's all leading to something much better than what you had imagined for yourself or a collective. And then also emotionally, you are being encouraged to let go of something so that the new can come in. Surrender to it. This is about surrender and just allowing the changes to happen and sort of, you know, bend and flow with it like water does, and be like that reed in the wind that just sort of bends, okay? And Serapis Bay, this is about ascension and shining your divine light, rising above the darkness, okay? The mountain goat, fight for love. Use that Saturn energy in a positive way. Use the determination and use the limitations imposed on you to get back to what's real, which is your inner security. Let your inner security come from what is in here. Let it come from within. And it doesn't matter when you have that, it doesn't matter what's stripped away from you or what's taken away. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are making room for love. Okay. And Sirius. Okay. We are moving into a new time frame. And this is a planetary ascension. This is, you know, this is cosmic. This is a cosmic thing. This is us joining the heavens, joining the rest joining the rest of the heavens in ascension. You don't have to be stuck on this planet. You can get off. All right, that's it. Thank you, my friends. I'm really happy to do these readings, and like my channel, like my videos, if you feel so compelled to. I'm not trying to, you know, make like a big YouTube channel. I really just need a place to put my videos so I can share this information, and that's it. All right. Namaste.